It's 6:30, the morning of July 27th, 6.5 hours from the start of the Marlboro 500 at the Michigan International Speedway. As the sun climbs higher in the sky with each passing minute, the crews of the IndyCar teams are already entrenched into a long day, which will be highlighted by a 3-hour, 16-minute, 500-mile race. It's shortly past 7 when key members of the Tasman team meet to discuss the day's strategy. Steve Horn, the president of Tasman, runs the show, but on race day, he splits his authoritative duties with engineer Don Halliday. Horn concentrates on the car of Adrian Fernandez. Halliday teams with Andre Ribeiro. Two different teams actually driving under the Tasman name, both with the same goals.
There's actually absolutely no hidden agenda. Just on race day, we become two separate teams, and I think that's what's exciting.
Time to go change the ratios.
It's almost 9 o'clock, 4 hours from race time. After getting as high as 238 and 235 miles an hour on Friday and Saturday, you can tell Andre Ribeiro feels good about this race. But in a few minutes, he'll find out if the car is ready to back those Friday and Saturday speeds on race day. At 9:32, Ribeiro finished in the top 3, averaging 233.251 miles an hour. You've done well on the ovals. You've done well here before. Do you feel extra special going into this race?
I feel ready. This will be a good one.
It's nearly 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just minutes before race time. The pits are crowded, and you can feel the electricity in the air. The Tasman team is looking for their second straight win and third of the year, but that's not the only thing swimming around the head of the driver just minutes before heading out on his 500-mile journey. Just 2 weeks before in Toronto, Ribeiro's teammate Adrian Fernandez won the race, but it came on the same afternoon. Jeff Krosnoff lost his life.
What we do, it's full of fantastic things, fantastic moments, and the highs are very high. But as everything in life, there is a balance. When something bad happens, sometimes it's very bad.
Once the race begins, on just the second of 250 laps, the yellow caution flag came out after Emerson Fittipaldi was introduced to the wall. Ribeiro came into the pits under yellow, but then was forced to the back of the pack. Steve Horn said the strategy for this 500-mile race to get a feel for the track over the first 20 laps. Once you hit 400 miles, put the pedal to the floor and don't let up. After 40 laps, Ribeiro had climbed back into the top 10, but Ribeiro was still making up for lost time, which increased the pressure on the crew during every pit stop.
Definitely, you keep your focus on what's going to happen, stuff like that. Try not to get too excited, to keep the driver calm, and the engineers will do that.
It's very easy to get into a panic situation when really the panic situation shouldn't ever arise.
After 128 laps, Ribeiro has now gone from the back of the pack into the lead. With 100 laps remaining, Tasman now have their cars running 1-2. But after 169 laps, Fernandez stalls during a pit stop. It turns out to be a blown clutch. So just like that, his day is ended.
Let me take him to medical.
And this is just racing, it's everybody did their best effort, and that's what it counts for me.
So Fernandez was out, but Tasman still had a driver out front. And after 500 miles and more than 3 hours of physical pounding in the cockpit, Tasman had their second straight IndyCar win, and the Honda engine powered a car to victory for the 9th time in 12 races.
I think I'm a very lucky person, maybe, to be involved with this team. If your car is running very well, to do 238 miles an hour average is not a big deal. But if your car is bad, if your car is not performing well, to do 220 is difficult, it's tough. With a good car, you do very well, no problem. With a difficult car, it's very tough.